Hey, welcome back to Room 237. This is John, coming out for another horror review. And this time I'll be doing David Cronenberg's The Fly, which is a movie I've known about my entire life, but shamefully never got around to seeing until just a few weeks ago. I could never find this anywhere. I've always wanted to see it. I finally got to recently, and I'm glad I did, because this was a fantastic movie. David Cronenberg is a director I've been interested in for quite a while. He sort of created the body horror genre, like just horror movies that horrific shit happens to the human body. This is my favorite of his so far. I also own Scanners and The Brood. I still haven't seen Videodrome. Shame on me. I'm looking for it, though. There's also Rabid, Shiver. There's The Naked Lunch, which isn't a horror movie. It's like a surreal, weirdo movie. He did do The Dead Zone, which I have on hold at the store that I go to. Which I haven't seen The Dead Zone since I was a young kid. I don't remember shit from it. But so far, this is my favorite. I do really like Scanners. The Brood is also really good, but this is my favorite. And this is sort of like one of those movies from the 80s that it's a remake. It's the, in one word, science fiction. That is just super awesome, and a special effects extravaganza. The other two I would say would be John Carpenter's The Thing, which I still do like more than this, and Chuck Russell's The Blob, which I still haven't got around to seeing. That's on my radar though. But I still think this is very good. And what this is which, first of all, if you're interested in seeing The Fly, get this version. It's a 2-disc. Disc 2, there's like a 3-part documentary. It's like, I think, at least an hour and a half, somewhere between an hour and a half, 2 hours long. Deleted scenes, storyboard and script comparisons, never before seen alternate ending, rare test footage for makeup and visual effects, the Brundle Museum of Natural History featurette. If you've seen the movie, you know what the Brundle Museum of Natural History is. A bunch of stuff. And you also get a full-length audio commentary by David Cronenberg on Disc 1. But yeah. So the story, I'm sure a lot of people have heard. This has been referenced a bunch of times. Parodied a bunch of times. Jeff Goldblum, who I know everybody likes. He plays this guy named Seth Brundl. He's very introverted and shy, but he's very passionate about science. Very brilliant scientist. He has this way. He sort of invented this machine to teleport. This woman, Geena Davis, which I love Beetlejuice to death. I think this is Geena Davis' best performance. And if I'm putting something above Beetlejuice, holy shit, I must think it's good. She plays this reporter who tries to get information, then he realizes, oh, well, if you're going to print this, then we're done. Her boss is played by John Getz. People might know as Gus from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. He's a sleaze in this too. He's kind of a psycho. Super jealous. Trying to get back with Geena Davis. But then, he sort of has a change of heart. He's like, well, you can print this, but you have to let me finish my research. You will document everything. We'll film everything. We'll go through it together. So they do. They start falling in love. And then one night, you know, she plans on never seeing John Getz again. She goes out to tell him. Jeff Goldblum, Seth Brundl, never having a girlfriend before, doesn't know how to handle the jealousy. He gets all upset, goes into the teleportation pod to try it out, even though they're supposed to do it together. He films it, and we, the viewers, see that what has gotten into the pod with him is a fly. And during the teleportation, you know, the whole theory with teleportation is you're broken up into a million pieces, then you all come back together when you come out on the other side. They get crossed up, fucked up, and he slowly starts turning into this fly creature. Which at first he's like superhuman. You know, he's got great strength, great energy. He's doing this thing on his chair, like on the arms, like lifting his whole body up and doing, spinning around, like doing chin-ups and spinning around completely. Like almost superhuman strength and agility. Then he wants to have sex nonstop. She doesn't know how to handle this new behavior. He gets all mad. There's this great scene when he goes into a bar. He has to arm wrestle this guy. This is like the first effect. Which the effects are done by... I didn't say on the back here. I want to say Chris Wallace. Who... I believe Chris Wallace did Gremlins? No, that's not right. I'm going to have to look this up now. It was Chris Wallace. I do know that. Special effects. He did Arachnophobia. He directed The Fly. He directed The Fly 2. He did the effects for this. Gremlin. Okay, he did do Gremlins. Also did Return of the Jedi. Special projects on Airplane. Okay, I didn't know that. This guy's done some stuff. And, he goes to arm wrestle this guy and his arm just like snaps back and there's bone and blood and looks awesome. And then just bit by bit, like it starts out as a little spot on his back. There's like these really thick, strong hairs, kind of like what a fly would have on his back, its back. And slowly his behavior becomes more erratic and his body just starts to fall the fuck apart. It's really gross, but it looks fantastic. That's what the Brundle Museum of Natural History is. He keeps trying to get Geena Davis to go away so she won't see him like this, but that's the love story is I think very well done in this. It didn't take away from the horror or anything, made it more tragic. Kind of like a classic monster story. There's that tragedy in it that I really liked. So when she comes back, he's all gnarled up and his hair's falling out. And he has all these jars in his bathroom. Well, because at first, he's biting. It starts out like his nails. He's biting his nails come off, his teeth come out. But then after a while, his skin gets more coarse and dry. And we see, when she goes to see him after a while, he's got all these jars in his bathroom with all these body parts that have fallen off. It just, I can't do a Jeff Goldblum impression, but he maintains his Jeff Goldblumness through the whole thing. And so he's like, this is the Brundle Museum of Natural History. Because his lips are all thick and weird. My favorite part is she comes in and he's like climbing around on the ceiling. He's just like, it's weird, isn't it? It's like, listen. It's almost like it's natural. But he comes down, he's trying to explain something to her, but like his mind is so far gone that he's looking at nothing, but he's talking like it's a children program. And it shows that he can't eat solids anymore because it hurts his teeth. So he's like, well, kids, Mr. Fly, he can't eat solids because it hurts his teeth. So what he does is he vomits on it. That helps disintegrate it, and then he ingests it, which is what flies really do. And there's just this scene out of nowhere, and I think it looks great. He just like, he has like donuts or something. He like turns to look at Geena Davis, and he's like, bleh. There's just all this goop coming out of his mouth, and you see it like melt the donut, and then he just like eats it. Fucking gross. But I love gross stuff. Then you get more weird scenes. Like there's the whole thing where she thinks she's pregnant. Or she is pregnant. She has that dream where she gives birth to a larva. Which when I had heard about this movie when I was younger, I thought that's what happened. I thought that's how it ended. I didn't realize it was a dream sequence. But anyway, you know, it keeps going on, and even the final form of the fly, where he's like a full fly, the effects are still great. It is animatronic. There's no human left. There's no Jeff Goldblum. But I still think it looks great. Like this movie, along with John Carpenter's The Thing, is proof why we can have practical effects. You don't need CGI for everything. This movie is proof of that. We can have practical effects, Hollywood. Look how great this movie is. This movie's awesome. 1986, it still looks fantastic. John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982, still looks fantastic. Still looks amazing. Ghostbusters, 1984, still looks fantastic, but they already fucked that up. But this movie has a good emotional level too. Like there's the part at the very end with the shotgun, where it shows, you know, some humanity. I like how that's where it ended. I mean, the movie told its story. Geena Davis did a great job with the finale of this movie. I love the part where like John gets, he's finally, you know, been like a real person. He's gonna like help her out, and he calls himself Brundle-Fly. The Brundle-Fly gets a hold of like his leg, and he vomits on it. You just see his leg, like his shin, just start to melt. Then he does it to his hand. You see his hand like melt, and it looks beautiful. I mean, it's horrific, but it just so awesome to see. The effects are so well done. I love that line, be afraid, be very afraid. I mean, we've heard that hundreds of times over the years. It sounds corny and stupid now, but it came from this movie. It's a line by Geena Davis where, you know, he thinks they're broken up. This is when he's still in the sex-crazed, strong phase of the a metamorphosis. Brings the girl from the bar over, and when Geena Davis comes over, she says something about being afraid. Geena Davis is like, oh, be afraid. Be very afraid. Because she knows something's wrong with Jeff Goldblum. But still, I love the slow disintegration of Jeff Goldblum's character, his body. Seeing him go from how normal he is to every time you see him, he's more and more falling apart. It's very methodical and done in a very well thought out, well done, gradual way. To the point where you just kind of go with it. It's like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like, starts off slow, but it doesn't get more and more drastic. It's like, it goes with the movie. so that when you finally get to the final fly form, it doesn't seem so kind of ridiculous. Which one, it doesn't look ridiculous at all. It looks great. But yeah, David Cronenberg. I know after the 90s he did some like thrillers and romance films, but dude, go back to your body horror. This is what you're known for. David Cronenberg, go back to The Fly, go back to Scanners, go back to shit like this. Again, so far this is my favorite Cronenberg film. I do plan on getting more movies of his. The only bad thing I could say about this movie is I don't know how I didn't see it when I was younger. I would have loved the shit out of this movie when I was in junior high or high school or at any age. I think I first heard of this movie in like 6th or 7th grade, and I've always wanted to see it. I'm 27 years old now, and I just saw it 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I love it. Would I put it in my top 10, would I put it in my top 25? Probably still not, but I still had a hell of a time watching this. I will say it's some of the best special effects I've ever seen. It's up there with John Carpenter's The Thing, which that was done by Rob Bottin with help by Stan Winston, but Chris Wallace totally nailed this movie with the effects. Again, proof you don't need CGI for everything. Anyway, David Cronenberg's The Fly, awesome movie, great flick. Whether you're a horror fan, a sci-fi fan, or both, a Jeff Goldblum fan, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Don't wait like I did. Go see it as soon as you can, because this is a killer movie. I had a lot of fun with it. For Room 237, that's all I got. Thank you.